time for 28mm World War II action. Will you recreate history or reshape it your way? On the Bolt Action Hub at beastsofwar.com. Progress comes to a world of magic as science and the arcane combine to make marvels. Meet steampunk inventors and orc mystics at the Volsung Hub on beastsofwar.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Weekender.
Good morning!
This is weird. It was like looking into a mirror image of myself.
Well, but one of them was a convex mirror.
But it's all right. I've sorted it. I've taken my glasses off.
No. I think if you're looking in the mirror, it's definitely concave.
It's like Lloyd stung by a bee.
But it's all right. I fixed it.
Anyway,
Yeah, what's on the runner?
So he's going to spend the entire show like, what's next?
Well, let's see. What is first?
Blurry shapes.
Right, this show, as you will know, Virtual Ben, who lives on the screen, is not with us. So he left us to make the show ourselves.
Yep.
So this is going to be a shit show.
No, it's going to be interesting.
Right,
it's going to be eclectic.
Kicking off with the news.
This isn't going to work. I can't see that.
kicking off with some news. Well, let's be serious here. I've been out scouring for interesting news. Kicking off the news. The world's oldest pink cockatoo has died.
This? Okay.
Yeah. So this thing here, I said to Justin, right?
Yeah.
The world's oldest pink cockatoo has died. I said, do you want to see it? Yeah. And Justin goes, no, I don't want to see it. I said, no, you don't. You do want to see it. And he goes, no, I don't want to see it. I said, sit down and you see it. So I brought up the pink cockatoo, okay?
Yeah.
And I brought it up, and he went, oh, it looks really nice. I said, well, what were you expecting?
I was expecting a ragged, manky, dirty old bird.
Anyway, enough of that. We jest. Ben, we wouldn't crucify the show that much. We do have some updates, though.
Like what? Bootcamps?
Bootcamps. So we mentioned last week that we've got 2 bootcamps coming up this year. The tickets will go on sale tomorrow morning, exclusively for Backstagers. And then if there's anything left, then that'll come out of Backstage and we'll promote them elsewhere.
So basically, if front stagers are wanting to go, jump on the Backstage right now.
This is as good a week as any to join Backstage. Because we'll come to it, because there's a whole bunch of stuff in Backstage that you might want to try out. Bootcamp-wise, on the 11th of November, we have The Walking Dead. And we've already started the whole process of how do we make the best zombie apocalypse tables. We're thinking Evil Dead, rural America with all
This was discussed in one of the vlogs during the week, wasn't
it? Yeah, the Backstager vlog. If you want to go check it out, we'll be talking about that. We were asking what is the best zombie shows to have a look at, okay? Anyway, booking for that will go live this Sunday. The second boot camp that we have is on the 9th of December, and it will also go on sale this Sunday, and that's for Drop Fleet Commander. So that's for full-on atmospheric space battles, okay? So, tomorrow morning, in that Backstager post, we'll have the visitor's guide will be available to download. So that's a PDF of our address and how to get here from the various airports and stuff like that. The ticket is £165, okay? And that includes, so basically the idea is you come here and you don't have to worry about anything. Your accommodation is covered for the Friday night and the Saturday night. If you need additional days, you can pick up additional days for the Thursday, the Sunday, the Monday, and so on, if you plan to stay a bit and go and travel around the Giant's Causeway or things like that, or some of the Game of Thrones sets, because
we're only like a stone's throw away from some of them.
And the Game of Thrones films in the winter for it to be then shown in the summer.
I didn't know that. They film in the winter.
They do.
Suppose our weather's crap all day. Oh yeah,
but hang on. Game of Thrones, you're wanting the worst weather you can get your hands on.
Absolutely. Your meals are covered. So on the Friday evening, we have a spread on. You have your hangover breakfast on the Sunday morning. The breakfasts are amazing, by the way, in the Breeze Mount. We have Saturday lunch. We then have a Saturday evening spread. Then we have a Sunday morning hangover breakfast and then Sunday lunch. You also get your armies and all of your toys, okay? So for The Walking Dead, so far you're going to be getting the core game, the Atlanta expansion, a bunch of booster packs, 3D scenery, and some other bits and pieces. And then there's going to be prizes on the Sunday. So, I mean, there's a big lump of stuff for you for this weekend. For Dropzone, you get your choice of the fleet. Sorry, for Drop Fleet, you get your choice of fleet from the UCM, the PHR, Sheltari, and Scourge. And there's something very, very cool planned for space stations for each of you as well. And once again, prizes on the Sunday. So, if you're interested, by all means, come across, join Backstage, and at 6 a.m. UK time tomorrow morning, the forums and stuff will be live to go and make your bookings.
So it's good to be an early bird then?
Yes.
Or be up really late in America, possibly?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So you have been warned. You've got 24 hours notice. On the topic of why it might be an interesting time to join Backstage, we run out our experimental digital digest for Backstagers this week. It's called Reroll, and it's basically like our digital. It's kind of like a digital magazine for Backstagers. So Lloyd will bring it up here and show it off. So if you want to cut to that camera,
I'll just
Lloyd, tell us about it.
Reroll, it's like you can see here, it's designed specifically for tablets. We're showing it off on an iPad here, but it's like a really polished recap of stuff that's been going on Beasts of War throughout the month.
Basically, we're doing a lot of experimental stuff on Beasts of War. This was an experiment that we kicked off just at the start of August. We set ourselves 30 days to concept.
You're still with us there, Justin?
He's zoning out again. He's zoning out to concept a magazine, and the idea is that it's a communique for us as the backstage community. So we have the XLBS that we all get together in every weekend, and we have a good laugh in XLBS, going over the comments and stuff like that there. But this is kind of like our monthly totem. We're thinking, a communique. A magazine, a means of communicating. So it's a bit like the old underground punk mags.
Yeah, well, you see, this is one thing I really want to show off, because John's actually doing little mini tutorials in here.
Yes.
On how to paint some stuff. So I think that's going to be really, really cool once people actually get a chance to see how it all works and goes together.
Yes.
But there's a whole range of different stuff in it. Like this is, you'll have seen some of this stuff, but we've nice high res shots and stuff in here.
Yeah, and all of it's high enough res that you can actually zoom into it, and it still looks really, really sexy.
Yeah.
So So if you're interested, there's nearly 70 pages of stuff in it.
Yes, nearly 70. There's 66 pages, I believe, something like that.
So and then my favorite shot right at the end.
I'm really gonna give that away.
Yeah, my favorite shot right at the end is Reroll is it goes from month to month, so we have no idea what goes into the next issue, but we know someone who does. So,
oh my God, what have you done?
Can we get the ultra zoom of that, please, Lloyd?
We can try.
Oh, there he is! In the next issue! Only Justin knows, and he's not telling. Justin, you look lovely. Oh, my dear. Talk to me, Sydney.
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unlike the other amazing Photoshop jobs that have been done recently, that is not going to be my profile pic.
So
votes below. Should that be Justin's profile pic?
So that is Reroll. So if you do fancy signing up as a Backstager, come on, get across, because we're harvesting comments and stuff from the Backstage community at the moment, specifically on Reroll, to see whether it was an experiment worth pursuing, whether it's worth taking it any further, what direction should we take it, and we also have some volunteers, I call it, for volunteers if they want to pitch into the production of it.
Yeah, it's an important point to note. Based on the feedback that we get, we'll know whether we're pushing on further with that, and it will continue, or whether people are going to go, no, other content that you're doing and stuff interests me more than that, push on with that. It's a balancing act.
I quite like the idea of this for one simple reason. Say I'm sitting on the train or something. I could have my copy of Reroll sitting in front of me and just be flicking through it, getting my hobby fix while I'm, say, commuting to work, going up to see friends or whatever.
Well, we have if you go into the Reroll post, we have a a 20-minute designer's notes kind of thing, where we describe why we created it the way we created it, who we're kind of creating it for, what the challenges are, and a big part of it is for it to be a handcrafted, beautiful browsing experience that is offline. You know, it has links that you can push through to BC4. So, you know, if you can imagine a magazine that's supported by 100,000 pieces of content behind it, then this is it.
It's a great way of sitting back and relaxing, because one of the things I do like about magazines and stuff is you can just sit back and leaf.
Yeah.
Whereas websites and stuff, I find myself I'm hunt, find, hunt.
It is
find.
a more linear experience, I've got to say, but we are that's quite deliberate, because we're looking at ways. We described BC4 recently as like your hobby concierge. We want you to chillax, and we want to try and come up with ways for you to chill and enjoy the wider hobby, and just feel like you've got it. So, you know, that one issue per month, at the end of it, you could go to your club, meet with your hobby buddies, and you're switched on as to what is all the main things that have been happening in the hobby.
It's one of those things a lot of people, now it's a subconscious thing a lot of people like to do. They like to be the first to talk to their mates about a thing.
Yeah.
You know, so if there's something that people have maybe missed through the month, and they've noticed it in this,
yes,
they can get that sort of feel-good moment of going, oh, did you guys check roll out this month?
What is more likely, you know, because if you want to be first, then you should be just browsing pieces of
Fair enough.
I spotted this in reroll. Yeah, I seen that like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
this is more likely.
This is
more likely you're at the club and the people are chit-chatting around you, and you'll be plugged in. You'll know what's going on. You'll have seen it and stuff. So it's it's a more relaxed kick back, browse on Justin's train, Lloyd's sofa,
the airplane,
my toilet,
the airplane.
Yep. It's good luck to you. Right.
Anyway, we have like a 20-minute video with Backstage. We describe all of it.
Okay, last update before I make space for John is the Hobby Lab Challenge is now closed. Okay, thank you for everybody that has participated in that. It has been flipping fabulous. Okay, so the judges, the Terrainaholic and the Terrain Shooter, and the guys from Foreground and ourselves will be getting together over the next couple of weeks or so and wading through them all and picking our winners and stuff. I can tell you, as well as winners, there's going to be a heap of Golden Button Awards go out for the effort that has been put in. We've already started thinking about what the next hobby challenge is going to be. We might have a couple of Hobby Lab challenges, okay? But to get your minds thinking, one of the things I'm thinking, and I'm pitching to the team at the moment, is the theme of water, okay? Water-related terrain. Now, why this came about was, I've never had a go at building a bridge. But I think bridges are probably some of the coolest things that you could have on your gaming table. Because bridges create choke points on the table, especially for skirmish games and things like that there. Even for the mass battle games, you know, if you're trying to get guys across a bridge, there's a very famous battle in Scotland of Stirling Bridge, I think it was, where the rabble of Scotsmen were able to hold back the English because of the use of the bridge.
Yeah.
So bridges have a huge thing.
I like bridges because they're a nice focal point as well to a table.
So so I thought, why don't we do one on bridges? And I thought, no, we'll widen it out a little bit. And it's water. So I'm tempted to call it freshwater related terrain. So it's not related to salt water, okay?
So it's like
bridges,
rivery segments,
rivers, fountains.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see someone maybe do some coastline terrain.
No, that's salt water, Justin.
Yes, I know, but I'm saying it's a shame that we're cutting that out.
No, it's not, because we'll come back to salt water, Justin.
Okay.
Don't want to stick everything in. Trying to keep it focused, okay? So it's freshwater related terrain. Is where I think we're going to be heading on that.
What like a whirlpool watery thing in reverse? What do you call them?
A fountain?
You would get like a sea. Again, it's a sort of a sea thing, but you could say it's in a lake.
Well, you could do magic. Anything that you can say is in some way related to fresh water.
That's what I'm looking for.
You got a Belfast sink.
Okay, I don't know what that is. I'm going to let it slide.
Right, okay, but do you know what's good about this is I'm interested to see all the different techniques of creating the water effect.
Yes.
You know, you just paint it blue.
Well, you don't have to have water on it.
I've
Like, for
done it with
example, the
resin.
bridge doesn't have to come with water.
But I'm sure a lot of it will have
But it
water.
could be canal stuff.
Sewagey like stuff.
It could be, basically, sewage type stuff. There's a lot that you can do on that freshwater theme, and then we'll do something that's more oceanic later on. So get your thinking caps on. That is likely what it's going to be, but there may be another one as well, because the foreground guys want to challenge us on something quite specific as well. But the next general Hobby Lab challenge is likely to be fresh water. Anything that's related to fresh water.
Can we have stinky water too?
Yeah. When I say fresh water, I mean salty stuff. Right. Do you want to take a swish here, or tell them about some hubs?
Let's get rid of you and let's get John in.
Become a general of mighty armies at the Kings of War Hub. Take command of elves, dwarves, and orcs in this game of masked fantasy combat on beastsofwar.com. From Viking halls to the cities of the future, terrain buffs will love our foreground hub. Watch gaming tables of all genres come to life at beastsofwar.com.
Welcome back, everyone. We've got Jono on the show.
Hello.
Jono, we want to get you on the show because you've been playing a lot of games and stuff recently.
I have.
First of all, you've been playing Terminator.
Which, thanks for that Photoshop job, by the way.
That was fantastic.
It got more comments than any of my gameplay got. So, apart from one guy that was commenting, that was talking about my fluky luck with grenade launchers.
Oh, yeah.
I was ricocheting grenades off walls and everything to kill those things.
The funny thing about that picture is, though, first of all, Warren suggested it,
Yeah.
and I went, no, it'll take ages. And then I thought about it and went, oh, no, maybe it'll not take too long because it's just basically taking the metal stuff and sticking it on your face.
Yeah.
Right? So I was sitting photoshopping away at John, and I'd photoshopped him up, and he looked really serious and really Terminator-like. And I'm like, there's something wrong here. It's because I'd left the Terminator buzz
the
cut
hairline.
on.
Yeah.
I had to Photoshop in the rest of John's hairline. Otherwise, it wasn't recognizably John. As soon as I put the top of your head on there, I was like, there we go. That's Terminator John.
Don't worry, John. Soon enough, you'll look like me. So will you.
No, it's not going to happen.
You're just going.
It never moves.
It's not losing as fast as I am. So, right, okay, enough about hairlines.
Yeah, now, the actual gameplay, though, John, you kind of had Alessio on your side from the get-go.
I
had this beautiful defense set up, walls and sentries everywhere, and Alessio goes, no, we're just going to blow up that gate there, and there you go.
And I got to bring a giant Apache in and go, ha ha ha, wop, 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 wop. So I got to be a bit of a kid.
It was actually a lot of fun.
It was an excellent
And I
game.
do like that multi-dice system that Alessio uses for it. They actually say, this guy's, a Terminator, he's big, he's tough, he has this dice. This guy's a human, he's not so tough, he'll have this dice.
Yeah.
And it's really good for teaching kids to play because if you're just turning to your kid and saying, look, grab the yellow dice, that's what you need to roll there. Your kid's going to learn very quickly via the colours what they need to be rolling.
That's right. Let's introduce kids to wargaming through Terminator.
But Alessio's using it for some of his other systems as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's using it for his other systems, and I think it's a really clever idea to actually bring kids into wargaming.
Okay.
So that's my thoughts.
Well, it's a very simple game mechanic anyway, and a lot of the community commented on it, saying Alessio just makes really good tight rule systems straight off the bat, and that's what I found with the game.
Yeah, except for whenever you and me play, in which case it turns into the brutal death match of all time.
And Alessio stood there looking bemused, going, "This game should be over by now."
It does happen though. Whenever you and me play, it just becomes a brutal slugfest. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
The table and all looked really nice.
Yeah.
All them rusted vehicles and stuff. You just threw it all together.
Yeah.
Just like a table from nothing just appeared like that.
Yeah.
We were asked in the community comments how what did we use for the cars and stuff. So I went in and said, you get those little die-cast cars out of your toy shops.
Yeah, and you grab a hammer.
They're about the same scale, about the right scale. So you just grab them, take a hammer to it. After you've taken a hammer to it and released all your frustrations,
yeah, but
you then rust it and dust it
first. Didn't you? You deconstructed them first, then took the hammer to
No,
them.
I did not. Warren came out into the room at one point, finding me with a perfectly good die-cast car with a hammer wedged in the roof of it, and he was like, "Should you not take the wheels off?" I was like, "No."
But no, it was a fantastic game. If anyone has actually missed it, make sure and go back and check it out. It is a long video, I will tell you that now, because myself and John really went hammer and tongs at it, but we had a lot of fun playing
What sort of units was in the game?
Well, I was playing as Skynet, so I had all the exoskeletons
Did you
and
have any of
little
the big,
crawlers.
any of the big beasties and stuff?
One of those turned up at the end, but I didn't really get to use it.
No!
Yeah, which is unfortunate. John was playing the Resistance with John Connors, of course, hidden like a coward inside a van, driving up to my gates.
Why on earth did we use the Terminator then? If you were playing Resistance?
Because he looks better as Arnie.
I suppose you just look like some sort of weird Rubicon half-breed.
I've got a broader sort of jawline, and you know
that. And I don't think we've ever seen a bald Terminator yet.
Have we not?
No, we haven't. Not in any of the movies that I know
we have. Not quite.
We kind of have. It's getting there.
Harsh.
Moving on. You guys have also been playing Bolt Action 2nd Edition.
Yes. No, that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And in that video, we actually had a prize on the go.
Yes.
So we were going to pick one lucky commenter to actually win the Bolt Action 2 Band of Brothers starter set, and we have picked a winner. Now, I will say we did deliberately leave the thing to run an extra week because of the way we're doing our battle reports now, because we're sending them out on Beasts of War on the Monday and Facebook on the Friday, just to actually catch anyone on the weekend who's maybe forgot about them.
Yes.
But our winner is Jay-Z, so J-A-Z-E.
Jayz?
Jayz. Okay.
You said Jay-Z. That's an artist.
But he actually won with a comment about his favourite game of Bolt Action, which I thought was a really, really good and a really interesting one as well.
It's a really long comment.
It's him talking about his first game, right?
Yes.
So it was him playing with an elite British force against his mate's Horde Russian army, right?
Yeah.
So his mate, because it's a Horde army, he's getting a lot more dice in the bag and gets to go first. He's basically saying this one game taught him everything he needed to know and has allowed him to actually play tactically in other games as well, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
You know, so turn one, just everything starts going wrong for him. His tank blows up. He doesn't win, surprisingly. But he says that it's just such a good system to actually learn from.
There's someone after my own heart lose the game and still thoroughly enjoy it.
That's an old argument. Whenever you bring people in for their first game of something, do you let them win?
Let the Wookiee win.
Yeah, let the Wookiee win. It's that old argument, because if you give someone a hammering during their first game of something and absolutely tear them a new one, are they going to enjoy the game?
Well, it depends on how you approach tearing them a new one. If you just give it to them full whammy and don't give them any wiggle room to feel like they've done anything, that'll sour it. But if you let them have little victories...
There's that, but if you also don't tell them why you're doing what you're doing, you know, it's like, this unit's going into this, these guys are good because they do this, this, and this. Yeah. This is why this unit will beat yours, or this is why it did beat yours, and that sort of thing.
Because I wouldn't want someone to demo me a game that was dumbed down too much.
Yeah.
Because then I get to the end of it and go, I won. I don't really know how I won. Yeah. This game can't be that deep because I just won and I didn't even know what I was doing.
By the way, here's the main rulebook.
Yeah. No, that could just be me, because I really enjoy actually losing at games, because for me, if I'm up against the wall, I get real enjoyment out of it, just scraping or draw, or if I'm almost win against the odds. Yeah. This harps back to 40k days, where my last 40k games was just constantly just cling on, hope to get to the turn count end. We see, it's the thing I always said. I don't like steamroller games. I like meat grinder games, where everything is killing and maiming everything around it, which I think makes for some of the most fun games, even if you do lose.
I don't know. I like moving and hiding and clinging on.
I like tanks.
Don't like tanks. We're going to put this comment in the notes below.
Yeah.
Because it is an interesting comment. You can read it and see what his impressions of the game were. Right, Jono.
Yeah.
Modelling wise,
we have a few things.
Building some tanks, man.
Yeah.
Surprise!
I know. I like tanks.
Yeah, John likes to build tanks. All the tanks.
We got a package from Rubicon Models, and now we haven't talked about them before. We haven't unboxed anything like that before. So we got this package through. They had a various range of stuff, and I thought, well, let's build it up and have a look at it, and let's have a wee chat about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, as soon as the package came in, your spider sense must have tingled, because I saw your head pop up and go, tanks?
I sensed tanks.
Yes.
I sensed them.
He can sense their presence.
You started sniffing from the other side of the room. I smell oil and dirty treads.
And cordite.
I smell cordite and oil. There must be a tank in the room.
Oh, come on. You love to smell cordite in the morning.
So
we got a fair few of these in, yeah?
We got 4.
Okay.
And I built 3.
Okay.
So I'll move those to one side. So what we got was a Panther G.
Yep.
So I'll chuck that down there. You want to hold that for me?
So Panther G,
late war German tank. We got a M3/M3A1 American half track.
Yep. It's not a tank.
It's not a tank. We got a M10 or M36.
Is this the one that annoys you because people call it a Wolverine?
Yes.
I call it Jackson.
Both of which are wrong.
It looks like it to me.
Finally, we got this, which is a lovely little Crusader. A little
Crusaders are
British
fun.
sort of early mid-war tank.
Yeah. I mean, like I've played the Crusader in World of Tanks, and it's always a good giggle.
It's a horrible tank.
Right. So, which ones you've built, and what do you want to start with here?
Right. Well, I've built the Crusader, the half track, and the M10.
Okay. So let's have a look at the Crusader.
Okay. I didn't build the standard gun tank.
Okay.
You didn't?
No, because this kit has options, and this is what I've built.
Is this an anti-aircraft variant?
It is. Yes.
Oh, the guns move.
Yep.
I'm happy.
So the gun's
See,
actually pointing
I'm
up.
surprised that you did that because I thought you totally would have went for the main gun.
I've seen enough Crusaders, I get a little bored of the look of the standard tank, so I thought, well, this kit comes with an option for the anti-air. So I was like, yeah, let's go for it and see what happens.
Well, I quite like the design. The details are nice and crisp. I'm seeing, all the rivets look to be in the right place.
Well, would you know, Justin?
Go to front cam right now.
Would you know?
Spending enough time with you, and you're asking me, would I know?
Well, would you know? Because if you hold this box in front of it, it's covered in rivets, this tank.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but the hull should have more rivets, obviously, than the turret, because the turret was a late war modification, so it was welded.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, but no,
What about the kit and stuff then?
feels
John?
nice.
They could have got it pretty easily and stuff.
It's a absolutely lovely kit to put together. Really nice detail in there. The turret locks into place the way you want it to. Everything that should move does move. Anything you don't want to move doesn't.
What's the tracks like? Can we turn over and have a wee look?
Yeah, go for it. The tracks are actually really, really interesting on this kit, especially in general, the whole range of the tanks I've been playing with. The track and the wheel front, is it the wheel front or the wheel back, are one piece.
Oh.
So then when you go to glue these on, you have an inner set of wheels, because these wheels are doubled up, and they have an inner set of wheels that glue onto the back of that. So there's detail in there that you don't necessarily see, but it's a pleasure to build. It's a lot nicer to build.
Cool. All right, next up, let's grab half track.
I love this half track model. It had plenty of options in there to put all my radio sets in and all sorts of stowage and everything. What's nice is, particularly about this kit, is that we get these rear stowage baskets on the back. I haven't seen too many half tracks in the market with those. So
Right, and just to put you
nice
to the
addition.
test, John, which variant is this?
Yeah, I was going to ask that question.
I believe it's the M3A1.
Aye, but which manufacturer?
Oh, it's
Rubicon models.
No, because that's the thing for the.
Yeah, I know.
There were two car companies that made them.
It's a
during the
white.
war. It's a white.
It's a white.
Okay.
And they weren't car companies, they were harvester builders.
Okay.
International Harvester Company.
Okay.
White.
What? You mean the Americans went to war and essentially harvesters?
Yeah, they basically turned their entire industry to it. I do like the details on this.
It's a lovely kit. There's plenty in there. There's 2 crew models in there too.
Yeah, so if you look right in at the front here, you can see the 2 guys driving it, which is something some companies actually leave out. Overall, just really, really nice kit.
Tons of options. Just a very solid kit all around.
Was there much left in the box?
Only the bits that just sort of made different internal bits. Like, you don't have to put the radio sets in. You can just have all seat backs and everything like that in there.
I like this. They've actually went to the trouble of putting all the suspension and drivetrain in at the bottom here.
Oh, that is a surprise.
So that's a really nice little detail to have.
Yeah, but it still doesn't beat that Puma kit.
Yeah, where it was
Which had every steering
properly engineered suspension and steering arms on it.
Right, so the
Now
final...
for the Jackson that's not a Jackson and it's not a Wolverine.
It's not a Jackson, it's not a Wolverine, it's not a Slugger. It's the only named tank destroyer variant on this chassis. This is the Achilles.
Okay.
So in the M10 kit, you can build obviously the M10. You can build the M10 17-pounder. You can build the M36A and M36B, and you can also build the Achilles 17-pounder, which is the British one.
I'm sorry, but the actual arm on the inside swings up and down?
The arm.
Well, the rest of the gun.
Yes, the gun.
The rest of the gun.
The gun elevates and depresses.
This feels like World of Tanks, though. And I mean that because in World of Tanks, there's constantly tanks driving around with open tops and no men.
And no men in it, yeah. That's the only thing.
Can you get men for it?
I haven't quite trolled through the Rubicon site enough yet. I believe there's some bits and pieces that you can get. I'm not too sure.
Because if you're going to have an open top and a seat, it'd be nice to put a guy in it.
You want dudes in there, yeah. But
I like this.
Again, another nice kit. The nicest thing I've seen about these so far is that they're solid it's a very robust kit. None of that detail looks particularly fragile. Like if you knock it or if it falls off the shelf, it doesn't look like it's going to bend or break.
Now that's a nice little detail that there's just, because it's open, they've added a little bit of extra detail on the sides here.
Yeah, a little bit of ammo stowage in
there. So that whenever your turret goes on...
Can you actually see that? Oh, you can?
Yeah, you can still see through
it. So it's nice to see that they've taken that little bit of extra thought for it, which I quite like.
Now, just back here, John, when I originally seen this, I thought, does that need filled with green stuff? But you've been telling me, no, that's actually sort of the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
This gap, that it was actually 2 panels and stuff.
Yeah. Because they're counterweights for the turret for the gun.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the gun, I think, weighs, and Achilles 17-pounder weighs about 1.5 tons.
Yeah.
So they need an equal weight on the back of the turret, because this is only thin metal. This is only 3/4 inch plate. There's nothing to it.
What's this one like from underneath? Is there any details underneath this one?
Yeah, there's some panel lines and a tow bar sticking out the back.
Yeah.
Yep.
But what's the tracks like? A kind of...
It's essentially Sherman.
But is the tracks a little simplified, or is it just about nice, or what?
The tracks are a little simplified. I'd have preferred to see either a full sort of rubber block set track, which would be a bit easier to make than that, or they went ahead and did all the detail of the chevron on the track. So it's simplified, but Lloyd, I remember you saying to me earlier that you were looking at it going, well, it doesn't matter because it's a wargaming miniature. And
well, as it sits now, most of the time, if I go to the wider shot, like you see nothing of the tracks.
Yeah.
Especially if you take in and do a lot of mud and weathering and stuff. Yeah. There's tracks in there somewhere.
Yeah, it doesn't particularly matter. But no, excellent, solid kits all around, very robust, nice to build, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Do we want to look at the Panther sprues?
Yes, I could look at it once I figure out where I've put it. There we go.
I've been eyeing this one up.
Now, why haven't you built this, John? Have you got something planned?
I have something I would like to do.
Okay.
There's a transfer sheet just fell away from me. But I wanted to show off how Rubicon do the wheels and the tracks. So let's... If you want to open that bag for me, Justin. And get a close-up here.
Yeah.
So that is how Rubicon do their tracks. So they have the outermost wheels molded onto the track already.
Yeah.
And then you have another inner row which will sit in behind that. That gives the whole thing a bit of stability and strength and lets you get all the details in place.
And if you're painting it before it goes on the sprue, it makes it a lot easier of a proposition.
Yeah.
Because you've got a nice thing to hold on to there.
Yeah, so you can actually just paint all this whole track section up before you glue it onto the side of the vehicle, which is nice for me. I definitely like that.
Yeah.
Which is always a bonus.
Always a bonus.
Now this to me is a little bit odd, John. So if I put this under close camera, so you see this here? That's your hull.
Yep.
And it's cast in 2 halves.
Yes.
That is a bit weird.
I've never seen that really done before.
I find it a bit weird too, but it doesn't seem to matter so much because your back engine plate covers the rear side, or the rear part, and then you have this front section here.
So there actually is plates going on to cover the joint.
Which cover the join line, so I mean that's not a big deal to me.
Yeah, and there's more road wheels along there as well.
Yep, so because Panther has so many flipping wheels, that's how it all goes together. They like 2 or 3 layers of them.
It looks like a fun little kit to play about with.
3 sprues in total.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can we have if we're going to look at it, can we have a quick look at the top?
Yeah, sure. So this only builds the Panther G. This is the late war Panther with that.
Is it not? I think it builds something else, does it not? There's two variants on there.
Let me have a look here back here.
You just double checking?
Quickly throw it under camera while we're at it.
Okay.
No, it's just the G.
Is it?
Yep.
So you've got your top hull here, and I'm seeing it's not done with Zimmerit, which is a nice change.
Yeah, because it's a late war tank. They stopped applying it after a while.
I'm just being nosy here.
Yeah.
He's just being nosy.
It is just the G. Yeah. Oh, this is what it is. You can assemble the mid or late war version of the G.
Yeah.
Alright. That's why I thought. Yeah, there's kind of is 2 versions, mid and late.
Yeah.
Well, again, the details look nice and crisp. This looks like it's going to be quite the bit of fun to put together.
Yeah, it should be an easy enough build going by how the Achilles went together. So I'm happy enough with it.
Cool.
Also get a nice transfer sheet, which is really good.
Which is really cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. You have something else there?
Yeah. One more thing, and this was something that Jamie was talking to me about, that they were bringing out transfer sets, specific transfer sets. Ooh. So these are particular sets that Rubicon are putting out for particular divisions and regiments and stuff like that. So this is the 1st Panzer Division. This is sort of
so how deep historically you want to go with the build of your army. If you really want to go for this unit in this time period in this location, you can go after it with this. Yeah.
So all the kits are supplied with a generic transfer sheet, which gets you the likes in the German tanks, the turret numbers and stuff like that, and then you have your divisional numbers, your divisional marks.
It's a nice idea. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Very cool.
Okay, I want to take a quick break so we can just tidy some stuff up, and then we're going to be back to talk about some community painting, I believe. So we'll see you in a sec.
Fight for the Iron Kingdoms as a warcaster. Take control of the mighty jacks, arcane devices, and dark sorceries to bring the fight to the War Machine Hub on beastsofwar.com. Humanity has been driven from Earth, but now it's time to take it back. Join the Reconquest and fight the Scourge on the Dropzone Commander Hub at beastsofwar.com.
All right, time to look at some community painting picks, I think. There's been some really cool stuff on the site this week. Justin, what's up first, mate?
First up, we have from Selden9. He's done some of the Echo Curry Pods, I think you're going to call these.
This is
Curie Pods?
Curie Pods? These are the things from Antonissi's workshop. These are like the little tiny cards.
Yeah, but he's done them in a really, really poppy sort of colour scheme.
Wow, it's discotheque, that.
Yeah,
It's hella poppy.
It's kind of like they're just running under some neon lights. They look really cool.
It is a very funky effect he's got off there.
Yeah, I really, really like those. So, we all know what that means. He's going to be getting his community button.
As you can see there above.
Yeah. Ta-da!
Very cool. I'm liking that a lot. I'd like to see them actually on the table.
Yeah.
Because they're really punchy looking, and as they stand there, it's just like, colour, 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 which looks really interesting.
Yeah.
But if you could, like, put them on the table and take a couple of photos to see what they look like with some Infinity figures and stuff.
Yeah, so you're actually wondering, has he built a gaming table to actually match? I'm guessing.
Well, I believe in his. Can we click on his forum and see if there's other stuff? Because I thought I'd seen some other coloured things going on.
Yeah, okay. I think I've got it here. Here we go.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got some nice looking stuff there.
Now, what have we got?
Well, he's got objective markers on these two images.
Yep.
Scrolling further up, no, that's the top of his post. Further down, he's been painting at someone else has been painting at some Infinity stuff.
Yeah.
So, very, very cool stuff. I love the look of the poppy colours on these. Very, very cool.
Well, I'm interested to see what they're like on the table. If you are watching, it would be really cool if you could just put a couple of photos up of that. Next up, Justin.
Next up is something from Happy Howler. So you're getting your button mate, and you've painted a Cromlech Orc aircraft. This is one we actually had a look at a while back, and it is really, really nicely done. It's beat down, it's battered. I think there should maybe be a bit more of a multicoloured thing going on with the wings and the panels.
No, I really like just that blueness. I know we did some work stuff recently, John, where we had like lots of different colours and stuff. But I'm really liking just the blue.
But we still toned it down because we thought too many colours looked weird, you know, on our barricades and stuff.
Yeah, originally we had it was a Hobby Lab thing we were doing.
Like 5 or 6 colours.
5 or 6 colours, and it looked. And Lance walked past and went, "That looks really Christmassy," and I went, No, we're going to repaint this.
We're simplifying this scheme.
We're not having Christmassy orcs on Beasts of War.
I'm sure there is someone out there that does conversion bits. If they are out there, please link me below because I want to see Christmassy orcs.
But I really like it. I like the paint job on the orc itself. The shading and stuff on the face is really nice.
Yeah,
that's what makes it, because the rest of it, you know, it's all fairly straightforward weathering techniques, you know, the chipping and the dry brushing and all that sort of stuff with the silvers and the browns. But then you look at the face and you go, that's where your talent really shines, because you've made this orc look really characterful in amongst this really beaten up piece of machinery.
Yeah, but it's a lot less cartoony as well.
Is there a back shot, or is it the same
no,
shot
it's just two front shots.
Yeah.
At slightly different angles, I think.
It's from Cromlech, isn't it? Because
yeah, it's a Cromlech.
Because when I first seen it, I thought, oh, that looks really cool. I wonder where you got the really cool looking orc. Now we know. Cromlech.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we actually had one of these in the studio.
And do we have that orc?
We may still have that orc, or it may have been given away as a prize. I can't remember. I'll have a hunt about, see if I can hunt it down for you.
Cool stuff, Happy Howler.
Yeah. Next up from Aegis, he's been painting at some of the Royal Guard from Star Wars. So which game is this, John? Yeah.
This is the Imperial Assault.
This is indeed.
This is Imperial Assault. Yeah.
The clothwork on those is really nice. This is something I always talk to you about, John, and I'm hoping I can finally explain it. I always say I have trouble with long highlights on cloth. Do you understand what I mean now? All those long dipping highlights that you need to put into that.
That's called brushwork, Justin, and if you practiced more, you'd learn that.
I don't know. It's something I myself can never seem to get right. You know, no matter how many times I try it.
It's something I've never even bothered to try.
Yeah. Really?
But looking at this, I think I'm going to have to give it a go. And looking at some tutorials and stuff that John's maybe working on, and looking at going, he's doing some sort of clothy thing there. Maybe I'll have a wee go at it myself.
I think simple cloth looks good regardless. If you try to go too hard with it and you try to do all your wet blending and stuff like that, like Roman does excellent cloth. I don't, so I don't even pretend to try. I just go, there's a highlight. Done.
And the rest of the miniature shall distract you.
But can I not just dry brush cloth?
You can.
Well, because there's quite a lot of wrinkles in this.
Yeah.
Could I not just dry brush it and then wash it, and then the wash would cover up anywhere where the dry brush went too much?
Yeah.
See, I don't know, because I've edited so many of Roman's tutorials and seen the way he does cloth all the time, I always try and attempt it his way. And I can't get out of the habit of attempting it his way, having the brighter colour on top, fading through to shadow him underneath. I just think it looks beautiful, so I keep trying, even though I keep failing.
I really don't mean to offend you, but I mean, you are trying to run a marathon when you should be working on your jogging first.
All right.
And I'm not saying that in a way to belittle your ability, because you are getting a lot better. But you know, Roman has years and years and years behind him, and you and I as wargamers are sat there looking at him in awe, going, "Wow!"
Yeah.
And then we try that, and then we go, "No." So just remember to take the small steps when you're advancing something.
Yeah.
Okay. Try little bits at a time.
All right.
I'm going to have to try this because I want to have some like flag bearers and stuff, and some things that I'm thinking of doing in the future, and some nice depth to the flags and stuff would be really cool.
Okay.
Same techniques.
Yeah, same time.
Cool.
Really cool stuff there, Aegis. You've got your golden button.
Yep, and next up we have Soap Dodger, who's actually done something different for this. Lance actually wanted us to pull this out because he has done a beautiful, beautiful tree here, right?
Yes.
And this is custom made, scratch built. So if I scroll further down...
Can we click the tree?
Oh yeah, we can click the tree.
Click that tree.
I'll click the tree.
There we go.
That is really, really nicely done. And
Excellent work.
Now, I've thought about doing trees like this a few times.
Yeah.
But never really been arsed. But when you see it
you're
like
honest.
that, you go, ooh.
But it's so different from some of the trees you see, because it's got that big long trunk on it.
It's about time maybe we tried something like that.
Yeah.
But the next one's really cool.
Yeah, you see, I like this one because I just look at that and I think, you know what, if I was playing a game of Gates of Antares, that's a really nice alien tree you could lay down on the tabletop.
So what you're saying is his unfinished tree is still
It's
perfectly
good enough for me to count as finished, and I would use it as is. You know, fine, I would maybe paint a little bit more in around the base.
I want that. Do you want me to finish it? No, I just want it as it is. Lance particularly likes this though. Because there's a page, and we can go to it in a second, where he's moved on, Soap Dodger's moved on, and he starts painting and stuff. But Lance particularly liked that. He's like, oh, that just looks like a Japanese blossom tree of some sort.
Well, I mean,
it'd be like an alien Japanese blossom tree of some sort because there's so many colours. Can we have a look at the actual forum?
I've got some of his work in progress.
So if you're interested in this, there is an actual sort of tutorial here for it.
Now, I do want to make one thing clear. This is not for the Hobby Lab Challenge. This is just something that he has been working on.
Yeah.
But, you know, working through it, getting it all built up, works really nicely. See, this is the step that I'm curious about, is how he actually does his bark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So scrolling further down, we get to the stage where he primes it, and honestly, as that sat there, I probably wouldn't even have bothered priming it, just because I think that looks really good.
I'm kind of with you on this, Justin. I could probably just put that on the table and got away with it.
Do you know what though? See, when he's primed it and zenithed it,
Yeah.
if you had an entire table of terrain like that, you could play an awesome horror game.
Oh,
It would look so creepy and dead.
So really Tim Burton-esque
Oh,
sort of
we have to eventually make a Tim Burton style table.
That would be cool.
Like what is it? It's the night before or
Nightmare
the
Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas sort of look to it.
Sort of really elongated stuff. That would be really cool.
yeah, but you do get to see that the zenith actually does a lot to it once it's done. It adds a real depth to it. You know, and then, this is the other one he's been working on. What the? Who did this?
Joe Rugby, we're on to you, mate.
Scroll on.
Yeah, scrolling on. Okay, so this is him working away on the bigger tree.
Yeah.
And then it gets to there, and I think, he's zenith it.
Even that with zenith looks awesome.
Yeah, it really does. It's really poppy. Mm-hmm. And then he starts working on through it. This is just super cool,
Do you know
in
what,
my
Lloyd?
opinion.
I can immediately see why you looked at trees and went, that's such a good idea, but I can't be arsed. Because you're looking at all the wires and stuff and going, no, that's hours of sat in front of the TV with a box set on.
Yeah, it's like we could do that on Hobby Lab, but people are like, it took the hours to make this, and like, just enjoy it for what it is. For goodness sakes.
I don't know, I think fantastic job. Everybody who's managed to get their button this week, you deserve it, guys. You've done fantastic work.
Yep.
Yeah, so let's do a week recap. We've got Celadon 9,
Yep.
Happy Howler,
Yep.
Aegis,
Yep.
Aegis, and Soap Dodger.
Yes.
Congratulations to you
Excellent.
Nice
lot.
work, lads.
Excellent. Right. we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get rid of Justin. We're going to bring Warren in because we're going to talk about the Lord Inquisitor Prologue.
Anime cyberpunk style meets skirmish combat in Infinity. Experience 8 high-tech factions and fight to control the human sphere at the Infinity Hub on beastofwar.com. In a world controlled by massive corporations, a steady aim and split-second decisions are needed for your megacon to complete its goals. Begin your missions at the Mercs Hub on beastofwar.com.
It was an interesting week for Warhammer 40k fans. Because the fan movie, we finally get to see a bit more of the fan movie of the Lord Inquisitor in the form of the Lord Inquisitor Prologue, which came out on YouTube this week.
Yeah.
A lot of people are excited.
Yeah, you have to understand the context of this, right? They started this project just shortly after we started Beasts of War.
6 years?
Yeah. So 2010.
2010 to 2016. I think it says it on the end of the trailer.
Yeah. No, in 2010, if I remember correctly, he had some renders, basic renders of, was it the big battle fleet ships or something at the time, and maybe an Inquisitor or something.
He'd thrown together a bunch of renders that were like, there was a demon in there, and there was a bit of the Inquisitor himself, and other bits and pieces.
No,
there was the whole tongue action.
That's right. That's right. And we were totally taken aback with this because remember, at the time, there hadn't really been any serious attempt at the visualization of the 40k universe outside of what was taking place in Dawn of War and stuff like that.
I thought GW had already done their movie by this stage.
No, Space Marine the movie came out afterwards.
No, I think
Ultramarines.
I think Ultramarines came out just...
No, Ultramarines was...
just before we started seeing this Lord Inquisitor stuff.
Oh God, I can't remember, but anyway.
At the time, I was kind of excited about the Ultramarine stuff, and then the Lord Inquisitor guy came along and went, nah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay.
So, to give it some context, it was a fan-made flick. Now remember, if you cast your mind's way back, there was a German fan-made flick of 40k.
Damnatus.
Which had been nixed by Games Workshop. So it never saw the light of day. Because they couldn't find any means of it being released at all. Workshop. Where's my camera? Workshop. If you're watching this, we know that you have far, far superior legal eagles who are much more willing to make things happen these days. Why not get back to those guys and see if we can get that released now as a fan flick?
But it's 6 years later. Is it not a bit late?
No, it's never too late because nobody's seen it.
But maybe did they actually finish it? Was this a finished project?
It was finished, and it never saw the light of day. They weren't allowed to publish it.
There was bits and pieces leaked out.
Was this a live action thing though?
Yes.
Was there a lot of spandex and stuff involved in this? Was there?
Always, always.
Because just putting two and two together, I'm thinking like futuristic spandex and a German movie, and I'm just mashing them together in my mind and coming up with all sorts of weird stuff.
I wish this was XLBS right now because we could totally go down that rabbit hole, but we can't. Right. No. So remember that had just taken place. So I, for many years, never thought that this would see the light of day. And then Aaron Dubensky-Bowden joined the writing team of it. Now, Aaron is one of my favorite Black Library writers and actually lives over here in Northern Ireland. He's a superb guy, takes no crap. He's just a straight up guy. I've got a world of time for him. That suggested to me, oh, this is cool. And then we started to hear rumblings that Workshop were quietly supportive of the project. So, Erasmus, who's behind it, has basically been working on this just himself and a handful of volunteers now for 6 years. And this week, then, we got to see Prologue, which is basically a series of scenes to set the flavor of his I don't know, visualization of the 40k universe. And I've got to say, I'm in love. It's too early to talk about the writing,
the storyline,
and stuff like that. And to be honest, at this stage, I didn't really care. What I wanted to see was I wanted to see what was his take on the 40k universe, because the thing is, it could have been so easy to go down the cartoon route. Even if you look at some of the cutscenes, from the Dawn of War movies and stuff in the past. Do you remember the one where he was slaughtering Tyranids?
Dawn of War video games.
The thing about those cutscenes were, they were impressive, they were action filled, but they were still quite cartoony.
Yeah,
it was still a very cartoon.
The action was OTT.
Yes, but it was still a very juvenile rendering of the 40K universe in my mind. It's not a criticism of it. It's just how it was. So I was. I've mentioned this in the past, and that I was tempering my hopes for the Inquisitor movie just based on what we had seen in the past. But I got to say, when I saw Prologue, oh man, it just everything about it was. I just was so captured by it. His visualization of Terra, just the
ships passing the moon and everything.
Yeah, his visualization of it had a grown upness to it. It's something that I felt, jeepers, I can get my teeth into this. This has a sense of a realism about it. Even in the internal shots of the room where the guy that was assassinated by the Inquisitor was, even that,
opulence?
That Louis XIV or whatever it is style.
It's a good point, because you're
furniture and stuff.
You're watching something based on 40K, and in your mind's maybe not picturing vases and stuff like this, and ornamental pictures and things like this. But it is humanity in way distant future, and that opulence and that I am the high
I'm an important person.
Pomposity.
The pomposity is a good word.
And that
it could have been so easy to go into an interior and it just be all sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, and he captured that beautifully. I don't know if he intended to or not, but the thing you've got to understand about the Imperium is they're already dead. It's over for the Imperium. The whole thing of 40K, the reason the storyline can't move forward is if it ticks 1 second, they're dead. It's the end of humanity. But it's the pomposity, it's their arrogance that they don't realize that it's over.
Yeah.
And it's captured so wonderfully in that clip. The parade.
The parade.
Oh, me and John have been like, the parade. A couple of things about the parade. Either the parade just grabs you or it doesn't.
Yeah.
For me, the parade. I have went back and rewatched that bit over and over again. My highlights of the parade. Obviously the Imperial Fists.
Yes.
It was. Seeing the Imperial Fists.
Finally seeing Space Marines rendered with a big heft to them and a hulking sort of move, and the way they marched.
Pop your head.
Yeah.
Just pop your head. The weight.
They were substantially different from the Imperial Guard marching in front of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
You could see it straight away.
The guard were very sort of slim.
But then being followed up by the dreadnoughts. And that well-timed horn, right? You've got to say, if you ever want to make a trailer a success, you need a degree in hornyism, because if you can get your horn in just the right spot,
it's all about
it'll make or
placement,
break a good trailer. So it's like there's industries based on this, I'm sure. Anyway, but the other thing is the guys with the witch hats.
Oh yeah.
Right. I had never seen them before. Okay, I'm going to be tackling AJ for a 40K charted to talk about them. I had never seen them before, but I just looked at them and I didn't feel, what are they? I just had felt, oh, that's so Imperium,
They're
isn't
part
it?
of it, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just the walking along and that almost ghostly holding the
sensors and stuff.
So it is a really cool mix of future and past, and it's all melded together.
Oh, it's so good.
Because it is all the Inquisition. You're looking at them going, well, he does look like an Inquisitor. The witches and all that sort of stuff that would run around in medieval times.
Yeah.
All mashed up with the future, and it produces a really cool look. I was watching it going, though, it feels a bit like Dune the movie to me.
It had elements.
I don't know what that is, but it just feels like it to me.
It had elements of that. The other thing I want to talk about the parade is the balloons.
Yeah.
You love these balloons.
I love those balloons. I just loved all the mechanical aspects of the parade. The guys with the big ass metal jock boxes on, pushing the thing.
You mean the Justins?
Yeah, Justin's volunteering to dress like that. I'm going to get myself a witch's hat, and Justin's going to get us a big metal jock box, and I'm going to sit in a chair and he can push me around. He might need some help with that, of course, but but it's just everything about it. But the balloons, right? Them just moving across. It was that sense of.
But why are there?
I was afraid. I could feel that sense of intimidation by what was coming forward.
Up to that point, you hadn't seen a lot of color in the trailer or the prologues, and then all of a sudden you're hit in the face with this sort of almost echo of an Oriental feel to it, with the balloons holding stuff up, and the parade was underneath them. And stuff.
You'll notice that what we're not talking much about is whatever thread of a plot line he put through it.
Because what actually happened?
we're not that interested, to be honest. We'll wait for the movie before we actually discuss the writing behind what they're doing.
Can we just scroll this down a bit? Because we've been talking about Space Marines and stuff. We have a nice image of them here.
Yeah.
Just
bring it up. Yeah. Bring it up. Let them see.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's your job to do that.
All the poppy colours and stuff clash really well, because the Space Marines were just this big, bright, yellowy.
Yes.
And then everything else was kind of dull and dark and stuff. But then the balloons had that redness and stuff to
them. Yes. And it was even the design of the balloons with the giant kind of servo skull.
What is it with the balloons? Is this in the books?
I've never seen them before.
But that's the joy of it, because there's so much not explained. How many novels cover Terra themselves? There's not very many. So you can express
it may or may not exist. It doesn't matter. It felt right.
Yeah.
And even Terra, but some people talked about how Terra looked cleaner than they expected. But Terra's a hive city. Remember, you're looking at the upper levels of Terra, where it is more opulent.
Yes,
as you go down is when you start to get the shit. And
it's not on the fringes where everything's been battered to crap.
No. Yeah. Remember, Terra, since the heresy, I don't believe Terra hasn't been attacked.
Yeah.
And it was the volumes of gold and just opulence was just fabulous. But I want to talk about the technical aspects of it, because what was interesting was, and Lloyd, you'll probably be able to fill me in more on this, is that it said that the trailer was rendered in real time. But
technically that's interesting, because when it came up at the start, I was like, ooh, a real time rendering. I think
why is that? Surely I don't understand. Why not run that through? Why not render that out? Why take the risk of rendering it in real time? Surely rendering in real time is a more difficult thing to do, or a more costly thing to do, is it? Or
well, not really. If you take the likes of Unreal Engine and stuff like that. For example, Unreal Engine is an awesome video game engine. I don't know if that's what they're using, but it's now free to use, essentially. Okay, so if you build something like that renders in real time, if someone comes along, like first instance, someone comes along and says, let's make a change to that.
Yeah.
Because you've rendered it in real time and shaded all your models and stuff and done all the texturing that the shading and things and stuff can be built in, and so it all animates reasonably fast, you're not looking at hours and hours and hours or days and days and days of rendering again.
You have a bird drop out of the sky by accident, you have to re-render the entire scene that bird's in, whereas if you render it in real time. Is this also a case of you can use the power of graphics cards and things like that?
Well, yeah, you can use your GPU a lot more now than you used to be able to. 3D rendering used to be all CPU power.
Yeah.
And over the last few years, it's become, you can implement your GPU and get much faster renders and stuff.
Yeah.
But the likes of Blender and stuff, Blender's a free 3D app, and one of the things that the guys on that have been doing recently is a lot of real-time rendering. Because they're all into this, well, I can render something in real time that looks as good as what we were rendering in CPU time a few years ago, but it's instantaneous, it's like that. So if you want to make changes to it, just make your changes and then just play the movie again and render it. That's why I think they're having some lip syncing issues, though.
Yeah. Well,
it's because if it's rendered in real time, you'll fall into that trap where you can see video games and stuff where the lip sync and stuff can be out because if the processor or the GPU and stuff isn't quite keeping the timings
that
up.
And the fact that I didn't care much about the lip syncing issues, and I was too busy drooling over the whole visualization of the thing.
Yep.
But clearly, as an end result, they'll want to get that sorted if they can. But what became apparent to me was that the lip syncing, it wasn't only that it was out of sync. It was like there wasn't much of an attempt to even try and make it.
Lip syncing is really difficult.
Oh, I would imagine.
That's like one of your most difficult things in animation, because we spend our days looking at people's faces and watching their movements.
Uncanny Valley, isn't it?
Yes, and that's like, if you're trying to tackle this on with yourself and just a couple of people, that's a mammoth task. Yeah. You know, I've seen guys online do animations and they'll come out and say, "This took me 5 years to do this," and it's 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I've been working on this for 6 years and they're trying to do an entire movie. I don't know how many minutes it is, but you're looking at over an hour, I assume, or an hour's worth if they're declaring it a movie.
When Ultramarines came out, and I remember I got the special edition and I was able to watch all the extras and stuff, they filmed the actors voicing the lines.
Yeah.
And they made the animations based on that. And the final product still wasn't
it's very difficult to do. There is this thing called the Uncanny Valley, right? And you are subjected to it throughout that video. Okay, the Imperial Guard marching looked weird to me. I'm able to look past all this.
It looked a little weird to me. I think it's because the models are all very similar. Because I was talking to John about this. I was saying I'm not fussed on the actual way that they march. It seems far too synced. But then Justin was like, "No, you're wrong, Lloyd. There is a little bit of missync going on among them." And I'm like, "Yes, but I think it's because every model is exactly the same height."
Or they look the same. But
because you were talking about, you watch the Russians and the Chinese and stuff on parade. They're in sync, and I was like, "Yes, but they have shorter legs and stuff, which makes it all look slightly out."
But there again, you could be. It's all of this is resource driven, because to have all those different models in there would probably require a hell of a lot more resource than maybe a clone of a single model. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe they are different.
No, you're
we
on
just haven't
something,
noticed
because
it,
you can just instance the model, and that way you're not using as much. You take the model and you basically say to the render engine, "It's the same model," rather than say, "I have loads and loads of variations." Because every time you load a variation in, you're using up memory bandwidth.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an issue for them with that, but instancing stuff in 3D is the way to go, so you get lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of things, and you don't use up extra bandwidth or extra memory bandwidth to do it.
But it's what he did with the Imperial Fists. The Imperial Fists are identical.
There's a lot
models.
less of them.
Yeah, but there are a lot less of them, but he's also done it so that when the front row's taking a left step, then the second row's taking a right step, so it does look more varied, but it's the same model, but it doesn't matter.
The thing about it is, how, I personally, as someone, I have a real soft spot for creatives, right? And to sit and critique this before you take into account,
it's not fair. But at the same time,
like, oh my god, it's like.
I know what a mammoth task this is, and I don't want to critique it like too much, because I'm sitting there thinking, well, I'm a prick.
Yeah, because what's involved in it.
I know how hard that is and how time consuming that is. I'm a prick for saying, "Oh well, it doesn't look Hollywood enough."
Yeah, but
it's never going to look Hollywood enough.
Now let's talk about what we want to happen, because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, please GW, throw cash at this." Please GW, don't throw cash at this.
Yeah.
I would like to see an independent studio or an independent video game company pick this up and then take a license from Games Workshop, rather than Games Workshop try to do it itself. I think if Games Workshop got involved in it, I think they're too close to it to get involved to it. And I think for the guys behind this have a strong vision, and I would hate to see that.
Yes,
diluted.
You're looking at this thinking, that's not the vision. This doesn't look like it would have looked if GW had been involved.
Possibly, yeah. But what are we looking at here, right? Are we looking at something that a movie studio is going to look at and go, "We're going to do something with that"?
Absolutely not.
I don't think so.
Because Warcraft proved it. Because Warcraft's pretty much a failure as the movies go.
I loved it.
Yes,
I haven't seen it
but
yet.
in the box office terms, it's a failure.
I still loved it. I thought it was great.
I'm not saying the movie. I'm not saying the movie's bad. I haven't seen the movie, but as box office revenues go,
I don't think it was too bad. I don't have the data.
I don't think it's getting a sequel.
I don't have the data to talk about that. But I don't think a movie studio is going to pick this up. But I could see a video game company looking at this and going, look at the reception this is getting.
Well, the last time I
look
looked,
at the vision that this individual has.
Last time I looked, it was over 800,000 views on the prologue.
Unbelievable.
Just before coming in here.
Unbelievable.
In a few days.
And there was very few dislikes on that.
Yeah.
I was looking at going, that's been received pretty well.
Imagine BioWare picking it up and doing basically Mass Effect, but that.
But that'll be amazing.
What are you talking about? Taking this and going, let's make a video game now in that world?
Let's make a video game in that world with Erasmus's particular vision. You play an Inquisitor in a Mass Effect style RPG in that world.
Oh yeah, I thought it might actually work.
See, the game Space Marine
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Because it gets over normally you do play as a Space Marine or something.
Yeah.
Whereas this, you could play as that creepy little guy that everybody hates.
Yeah. Because
you're a bit more.
It's Ramsay. It's Ramsay from Game of Thrones. It totally is. But imagine that you are that Inquisitor, and you're building your band of henchmen and stuff like that around you, and you're traveling around in your big ass battleship, roaming around parts of Terra. It's got everything that BioWare could turn into a beautiful RPG. It would be please make it happen.
It sounds like 40K meets Blade Runner, in so much as you're running around hunting people down and stuff.
Yeah. But I've got to say, if we've been hopefully showing little bits and clips through this, but if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. And standing ovation for the guys that did it. It was really good.
I wonder though, this real time thing. I wonder if the final thing is going to be rendered real time.
Who knows? Who knows?
Maybe he'll render it real time, watch it, and then think that's good enough, and then.
I think it is going to be rendered real time. Otherwise, why did he make such a big deal of it on the trailer?
Yeah. Maybe he didn't make a deal. Maybe it was a warning to say, this has been done.
This is wrong. This is what.
It's been
It'd be
done.
interesting. I'm going to have to go and look at the blog and see if he has up there plans of whether this will actually go through a full on rendering pipeline, or whether it'll go out there through this real time render thing.
Yeah.
Either way,
so much as I want to see it. I'd be quite happy if BioWare came and snapped it all up, including Erasmus, and said, right, forget that. Lord Inquisitor is going to be a video game.
Everybody wants to see it now.
2018.
We've been waiting 6 years. We want to see the flipping thing.
No, I'd be quite happy to play it.
I'd be happy if BioWare took it and said, finish the movie, and that'll be the intro to the game.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
Right. Going to move on, are we?
Yep, we're going to chuck him out because we're going to bring Justin back in for the end of the show.
Okay.
Flames of War brings you the battles of World War II in epic 15mm scale. Go to the hub on beastsofwar.com to find news, tactics, and tutorials about the game. Keep your blaster handy, the West is a dangerous place. Fight to survive as men turn to monsters and the dead rise on the Wild West Exodus Hub at beastsofwar.com.
Hey everyone, welcome back, and welcome back, Justin.
Got my buddy back.
I missed the Lord Inquisitor. I'm so sad.
You did.
You're excited?
Yes, because I had things and stuff to say about it, and now I have to wait till we talk about it again.
Are you excited to dress up as the characters?
Characters? Yeah, I could maybe.
Is that a commitment from Justin?
A commitment to work on the costume, yeah?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind cosplaying something like Lord Inquisitor.
You see, we told you. We told you.
Oh.
Anyway, moving on, Justin.
Okay.
Right, so we've got terrain to talk about. Okay?
Yeah.
Foreground have some really interesting stuff that's just come out, okay? So Justin, bring it up so we can have a look at it.
Yeah, okay, so here we go. So what they've done first is here, they've got a Cold War Gone Hot 15mm range, right?
Lovely, yeah.
So first thing we're seeing here is a fantastic gas station. I want to see this in 28mm though as well. I really want to see this in 28mm.
Greedy? Much?
Greedy, yeah.
Yeah, you've then got the one thing you obviously need, a supermarket. You then have a industrial unit, so you can build some really cool tables out of this.
Yeah.
And if you want to invade the set of Storage Wars,
ta-da! That looks like the Beasts of War lockup.
it really does.
I feel like a real sad sack because I didn't get that excited until I started seeing the industrial warehouses and stuff. And
That's kind of cool, isn't it?
But doing that flavour of a table, I think would look absolutely epic. So I think this stuff's going to let you build some really cool tables.
Well, you're talking about how you'd love to see it in 28mm.
Yes.
Okay? Can you pass me that pylon behind you?
Yeah.
Because as you'll know, we're working on the tables for The Walking Dead, okay? Which is set in modern day America, but in the rural parts, right? And I have a sneaky suspicion that we might be getting 28mm versions of these, baby!
So hang on. Yeah, that's going to be about yay tall?
No.
Up at a screen?
I may have misunderstood.
Yeah.
But it was ding, ding, hello foreground. We're doing another boot camp, and you guys made the most wonderful pylons. We'd love them in 28mm. Now, this is where I may have totally misunderstood, or they misunderstood me. But I'm almost certain I got back that no problem. We already have them. We already have them ready. There's a new product that's coming out. I'm going, oh yes,
it can't be that exact pylon scaled up though, because it would be.
Yeah, that would look awesome.
It'd be bloody awesome, Lloyd.
It would be ginormous.
Oh,
yeah, but
yes.
I think that's okay. I mean, like, I think it would just look cool.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
They need to make it tall enough that you don't put your eye out.
Yeah, well,
lean that over.
So anyway, I hope I could be wrong, of course, because I get excitable and but I could be wrong. But I have a suspicion that we might be seeing 28mm versions of these. So
or you get another ring. What have you just committed us to?
Yeah, what have you just committed us to, idiot? Right. On the topic, is that all of the...
No, there's more
of
stuff.
this? Yeah.
So that's all of the Cold War stuff.
Yeah, exactly. On the topic of rescale, okay, do you know the 28mm sci-fi stuff that they do?
Yeah.
Well, they've now scaled that down to 15mm, so you can get that in 15mm as well.
Yeah, so if I call this up, so this is the entire range of them. This isn't a single building. This is all the types of building just laid side to side.
Uh-huh.
But don't they just look beautiful like that?
Yeah.
Is there another shot?
Oh yeah, there's tons of other shots. So here's how they look on the inside.
Yep.
We've then got the different colors that they do, because I think that makes this range really nice, just being able to, sort of color code your areas. And there we go. That's a lot.
Okay, let me blow your mind.
You're going to blow my mind.
I'm going to blow your mind.
Okay.
2 words. Halo Wars.
I was thinking that.
Oh, Halo Wars.
But before I get any grief,
Yeah.
grunts.
Yeah.
Because the last time I talked about Halo
there's
Wars,
other 15
I got the whole, there's loads of sci-fi stuff.
There are a load of 15mm sci-fi games, but I just happened to look at this and I just thought, Halo. Yeah. You could totally do Halo with that.
Halo.
I think it'd be great.
Really,
I think it'd be great. The only other thing is to be said is I believe in tomorrow's show, tomorrow morning, do you remember, well, he won't remember, he wasn't there, but do you remember I was talking about how I am thinking of pulping up Team Yankee a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay? But my pulping for Team Yankee is going to be Robot Titans, right? So like battle mechs from BattleTech and stuff like that. But I want to have it. I want to have it as the Ronald Reagan. A BattleTech named the Reagan, and another BattleTech on the other side called the Gorbachev and stuff like that there. And that's how, because for a long while, I was saying Team Yankee is sci-fi enough, not to need it. And you know that I pulped up Flames of War with my Nachwolf, with my flying saucer, my Nazi flying saucers and stuff like that.
And the 1,000,001 Stugs.
And my 1,000,001 Stugs. But for Team Yankee, for the longest time I'd been looking at it and thinking, I don't really, the whole alien thing doesn't really suit it. It's already pretty sci-fi as it is. How am I? I didn't have much desire to pulp it up until Oriskany started the whole BattleTech series, which is a bomb of a series. If you haven't seen it, please come across the Beast of War. It has set the place on fire. There's a brilliant BattleTech series going on of articles at the moment. Seeing that, I just went, 15mm Battle Titans, okay? With done with the red, white, and the blue and stuff like that. They really camp them up.
I'm squinting at you because I'm not convinced.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
For myself, for Team Yankee, whenever we did the biohazard rules during the week.
Yeah, for the whole nukes. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, check out Team Yankee Week where we talk about nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare within the Team Yankee universe.
See, for me, that was where the gaming and the GATS really came into that. Doing something like that. For me, I don't really know if I would go down the robot route. I think having that biochemical war zone is where I want to be.
Well, lucky for you guys, you don't have the choice. We're doing it. So tomorrow, in tomorrow morning show, I believe I have a link to a place that does 15mm scale BattleTech style Titans. So
but are they really futuristic-y looking?
They're just perfect, Lloyd. They're just perfect. When you've got them all painted up with the red, white, and the blue, and the Reagan on it, and the Gorbachev. Imagine the Thatcher. Imagine the Thatcher. All we need to do is to get a big set of pointy teeth on it or something like that there.
You are going to turn the Iron Lady into a battle.
The Iron Maiden.
I'm painted blue.
I'm gonna paint it blue, and I'm gonna hang a handbag off it.
That's one hell of a face.
It's gonna be utterly terrifying. But honestly, just the more I looked at it, the more it's totally come to me.
Really?
I missed out the whole BattleTech thing, so this is my route in.
I think Warren's just going off on one on this. We're gonna have to wait and see how it turns out.
I love me some weird World War type stuff, but
that's really weird.
Well, this is weird Cold War.
Are they all nuclear powered?
Oh, I never thought of that. Yes, they're nuclear powered.
Right.
They're nuclear powered.
Apparently, the SpaceX spaceship to take people to Mars 100 people at a time is going to be nuclear powered.
Really?
Yes.
But I thought there was a treaty against having nuclear powered spacecraft. Does that not apply to private firms?
Listen. Treaties were made to be broken,
or renegotiated.
Yeah, ultimately, we have to look at some alternative form of propulsion because we can't use rockets. Rockets are so incredibly inefficient.
This would have rockets as its main power source. It'll Raptor rockets.
Yes.
There's going to have like 10 Raptor rockets on the main launcher.
Yes, but that's only to get it out of Earth's atmosphere, to get it into space.
Oh no, it's still going to have Raptor rockets when it gets to Mars because it's going to use.
It has to for
It's
landing.
going to use a particular type of fuel that it can manufacture easily on Mars, and that's why they've developed this new Raptor thing. I was watching this on YouTube last night, fascinated about it.
Is there not one problem with the rocket fuel that it's mass versus lift? You eventually have too much mass to produce lift to actually get it up.
Well, let me put it to you this way, right?
It's hard to get it up.
It's in order for you, right. Let's imagine you're trying to get to Alpha Centauri, okay, our nearest star, okay, and you need to get it up, right?
Yeah.
How much fuel do you think you'd need in your rocket?
I'm not a rocket scientist.
Well, have a guess.
Did we not quiz him about this?
Well, we need pie faces. Have a guess.
No, the beard just came back.
Have a guess.
Let's say 200,000 tons.
200,000 tons.
I could have sworn we'd done
Random number.
That's a big rocket, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. You would need fuel equivalent to all of the matter in the universe in order to be able to get you there.
Okay.
Okay, so that's how inefficient rockets are.
Yeah.
Hence why we have to look at things like nuclear power and stuff like that. The main thing for me that's most interesting, I don't even know why we're talking about it, it's not even on the running order. The main thing that's most interesting to me is what's called the EM drive, which is basically like a microwave oven with a rocket booster, okay?
The one that works.
And what you do, all it needs is electric.
Right.
Okay, so...
solar panels and stuff, I'm guessing?
You turn it on,
right,
and it generates a tiny amount of thrust.
Right.
But it's not using any fuel.
Is this the impossible drive? Or
yes.
This is the one that works but shouldn't work.
The canny drive.
Okay.
So it's it shouldn't work. It defies the laws of physics. But NASA said, right, we'll test your stupid drive. We'll show you it doesn't work. Oh,
whoops!
It does work. It's now been peer reviewed.
Right.
Okay, so the research paper has been peer reviewed. So in essence, they believe it works.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It doesn't matter if it's a tiny amount of thrust, okay? Because you can scale it up. And the amount of thrust may never be massive, but if it's continuous, you have continuous acceleration, right? And that continuous acceleration
with
means,
zero resistance.
Well, there's always some form of resistance, but with continuous acceleration, then in relatively short amounts of time, to be honest, you can start to approach relativistic speeds. And we only have to get within 10% light speed. I say only, but if you have continuous acceleration without the need of propellant, but then that suddenly becomes potentially achievable. So
more to the point is you will actually be able to slow down.
Yes.
Because you can speed stuff up with rocket fuel and all that sort of stuff, but you would never be able to carry enough, A, to get you fast enough, but if you did get fast enough, then you need the same amount to try and slow down again at the other side.
Exactly.
That's why these solar sail things that they're going to send to Alpha Centauri are designed not to stop. They're just going to fly straight through the solar system and out the other side because there's no means of stopping them.
Yeah. It's interesting stuff.
Cool idea.
Right.
Cool idea.
Do we have any Kickstarters for this?
We do.
Wait, is that all the terrain?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
That was all of that terrain. Now it's time for some more terrain.
All right,
And
okay.
importantly, some Dropzone Commander terrain came up on Kickstarter. So, if you like your 10mm sci-fi, we now have this. So have a look at these.
So what's this? Neo Tyrannus.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And they're doing some beautiful skyscrapers.
And is that all Dropzone Commander scale?
6 and 10mm it'll work at. So you've got all sort of corporate headquarters and stuff, you know, to actually really give you a flavour of the cityscape that you're working in. Because let's be honest, architects like to go mad sometimes and design really, really funky buildings.
Are there more pics?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's more pics. There's more pics here. So we've got close-ups of some of the actual towers themselves.
What I like about this is I like all the wiggly sort of shapes and stuff. They're not basic boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, like you've got this is a really nice one. So it's got that sort of OCP feel to it.
Yeah.
If you think about it. We then have these, which are some of the other smaller buildings you can put in.
Oh, Lloyd.
So you've got some nice tax centres and stuff like that in there.
Yeah,
Which is
that
cool.
one at the bottom, that looks like our hospital in Belfast.
Which one?
Yeah.
This one here.
All right.
Yeah, it does. It looks like the city hospital, doesn't it? Yeah.
Oh, never been there.
Okay.
We then have someone's headquarters. So this is starting to feel a little bit Judge Dredd.
It does have a Mega City 1, doesn't it?
And then we've got this.
Look at that. That's your UN building, isn't it?
Yeah. Lovely stuff. Now, as I said, it is on Kickstarter.
MI6.
Yeah.
As I said, it is on Kickstarter. It's not funded just yet, but it still has, I think, 18 days at the time of filming.
No, it says 20.
Oh, okay, fine. 20 days at the time of
You're
filming.
calculating ahead.
Yeah, but
I'm calculating ahead. But no, it's some very, very cool stuff, and I think it's really going to let you get some flavour into your Dropzone Commander.
Now, here we go.
Look
These
at it
are
with
better
some of the minis
pictures.
on it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Scroll down through some of these till we see.
Yeah, no, there's not too many of these, but it works. See, there's your 6mm, and they look fantastic. There's your 10mm, they still look fantastic. And are there any more? Yeah, there's one or two more.
So it's the same buildings, they're not changing them?
No. It's a set of specific buildings.
When you start to get to that 10mm, 6mm scale,
that one there.
Just look at that.
You know, that's very Halo, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm liking that a lot.
Yeah,
That's
do you know what I'm
very
thinking?
Dubai.
Yeah. I'm looking at these. I'm thinking Coruscant for X-Wing.
Who was that by just before we get tied up?
It's by the Phalanx Consortium.
Yeah.
And it's a Nero Tyrannus.
Yeah. Fantastic Kickstarter.
Imagine a bunch of that stuff on your 4x4 for a game of X-Wing.
Yeah.
Flying in and through that.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be absolutely
Now that's good.
awesome?
Those buildings would be good for that.
Yeah, they will work beautifully for X-Wing.
Yeah.
And now that we've seen, and we only harp on about it because people gave us grief for flying our X-wings through atmosphere, but we were proved right. But now that it is accepted that X-wings are at their absolute coolest when they're fighting TIE fighters
we've got
through atmosphere.
AT-ATs on the beach, or AT-ATs because people hate when I call them AT-ATs.
Really?
Imagine that terrain. And your X-wings flying through it. I think it'd be fab, absolutely fab. Right, what's next? What's our final thing before we head for the day?
Speaking of X-wing, behind you, Warren, there are some little baggies, which have some X-wing things, some Infinity things, and some Guild Ball things.
Oh, lots of things.
Yes.
Okay, so
another bag
tokens
here, and I will also need the 2 miniatures that are sitting down beside you as well.
Okay.
So, thank you very much. But this is another Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Now, I'll bring it up on screen, but I just want to get these out first.
So this is the Tabletop Gaming Accessories.
Yes.
By Tagwork Fabricator.
I believe they're German.
I think so.
Let's look at the page.
I think so. Right, bring it up till we see.
Here they are here.
Yes, this is them.
And what these guys are making is these. So they're making tokens and templates
Oh, they're very nice, aren't they?
for X-Wing,
Yep.
for Infinity,
Uh-huh.
and they've got some really cool ones for your Guild Ball.
Oh, they're sweet, yeah.
Yeah, and we actually have some of them in the studio to show off.
Show me.
So, let me clear a little bit of a space here. So these are some of your X-Wing movement templates that we have down on the table here.
Okay.
And you see the way they've got this nice print on the back of them, just to make them look that.
Do we have a closer view? Yeah, there you go.
So you can see you've got this style. You've got some very cool space style stuff, atmosphere style stuff.
Yeah.
And I really, really like the look of these. What they also have in this next little baggie is some of the other flavors they do, because they don't just do that type. So if you want, you have the nice matte black ones.
Oh, I like the matte.
Oh, the matte is nice, isn't it?
Because a lot of the times you get all these neon ones and stuff like that, and see-through ones, but I like that matte one. I hadn't seen that.
Really nice.
There's a real, put that one on close. Hey, there's a quality to that, isn't there?
It's an imperialistic look to that.
Yeah, I really like that.
And then they do all the tokens you're going to need to mark your status effects. So you've got your shields, your evasions, your focus, things like that. So it's really, really cool what they're doing for the X-Wing side of stuff. And of course, they do all of the big movement arcs and stuff in that same style. So you can sort of pick which ones you want whenever you're pledging on this.
Can I see this up close?
That matte one is very, very nice. We're looking at that going, ooh, that's
this sounds
nice,
a bit boring, but this is definitely my favourite, actually. I really like the matte one.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're looking for something that's just very clearly going to tell you what's going on. Now,
right, let's see what they've got for Infinity.
Yep.
So you got the explosion markers.
Now, these explosion markers and stuff, is this the...
They're okay, Justin. I'm not as quite as...
This is your grenade.
Is this the UV printed stuff?
Yes, these are the UV printed ones they've done.
Oh.
So it's a different sort of type of technology they're using for these, which I think gives a really nice effect. That whenever
Did they reverse the
those,
polarity for these ones, did they?
No, they reversed the UV.
so UV, what they glue under a UV...
No, I think whatever way they actually print onto it is used with some form of UV light.
They got some sort of weird texture to them.
Yeah.
So it's whatever way it's put onto them to actually engrave it with that colour.
Okay.
Yeah, which I think is quite nice.
Right. I'm not as sold on these, I will say, as I am with this and the matte. Okay. I'm not exactly sure what this bit looks good. You know, if we can get in there.
Yeah.
You know, that bit looks good. That's nice. But this bit, not so much. But that bit's very good. Yeah.
What they're also doing is a bunch of custom tokens for Infinity as well, right?
Yes.
So you've got all your different types of orders, your wound markers and stuff. What I like about the wound markers is they're actually designed so that when you take a wound, instead of putting it down beside him, you can plug it onto the side of his base, and it makes it a lot clearer as to what effects are actually on him.
Oh, that's kind of sexy.
That is
kind of sexy. I've got to say, that's a very sweet idea right there. It's just little simple things that get you, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and even just being able to pick up all your different order tokens and stuff, like so. I quite like the idea of that.
Yeah.
And there's quite the nice design to them. There's a nice feel and that quality feel to them as well.
Well, it's not new. Like we've seen this stuff. We've seen this stuff before. But I do like this little widgety one that they've done here. I think that's a very nice touch there. Where
it makes things just that little bit clearer for you on the tabletop.
But how many effects?
It's not just the clarity. It's cool.
How many effects can you possibly have?
Well,
you would need that.
It really depends on what's happening. You know, if you're getting hacked, if you're getting shut down, if you're taking wounds, and all of that kind of stuff. You know, you could possibly even, let's see, suppression fire.
Yeah.
Got unconscious.
Come on, this is Infinity we're talking about. There's a billion effects in Infinity,
here's
all right?
one I like. You actually have one to mark yourself as unconscious.
Yes.
So if you have something like this, which is your beautifully painted mini, and you don't want to be laying it on its side, pop that beside it. You know, instead of actually having to go, oh no.
I don't know, I'd just chuck it on the side.
No.
That's because me and you would never create a beautifully painted mini. So it's okay, fair enough. And then you have the Guild Ball stuff.
Yeah. Now these
we're big fans of Guild Ball. Okay, so I'm looking forward to these.
Yeah, and again, they've designed some of their tokens so that they'll actually slot into the sides of the bases and stuff whenever you have the right base size. Now I know this is the wrong mini, but just pops onto the side there. You've also got all of the little markers and stuff. And
they are nice.
Even more status effects like so.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sold. I'm sold particularly on this type here. Right. What they're doing for X-Wing, that's very sexy. But this, I know we might be boring old fogies, but do you see this matte black? You are onto a winner with that because there is something very slick about that.
If there's something like that, if I could get a whole table to play X-Wing on that was as matte as that.
Yes.
Because what I find is when I roll out the space mats and stuff,
shiny.
Everything's all shiny.
It shines, and I get a lot of eye strain off it.
Yeah.
Really?
So the more matte the surface, the longer I can look at it.
Yeah, I love this. Even for less practical reasons, I love it because it is absolutely cool. There's just something really nice about a matte black finish.
These guys are 4 times funded.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm going to be on checking now for this matte black stuff.
How do you say that name? Tagwerk.
Fabricateur. Tabletop gaming accessories. Awesome. Right. Are we done for today?
We are done for today because we've got things to do and other shows to film, for goodness sake.
And bootcamps to begin prepping for.
Yes. So remember, join us tomorrow morning for the bootcamp order forms and stuff will be up. Do come across. You're going to have an absolute blast at the bootcamp. So it's either one of them is going to be an amazing choice. So do both.
and download Reroll and give us your feedback on what we've done.
Yes, please. Yeah.
And maybe directions we could take it or not take it or whatever.
Okay. Right.
We're done.
Cheerio.
Venture into the dangerous dungeons of myth as a mighty hero and stand against the darkness. Visit the Myth Hub on beastsofwar.com and begin your story. Progress comes to a world of magic as science and the arcane combine to make marvels. Meet steampunk inventors and orc mystics at the Volsung Hub on beastsofwar.com.